All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome into the RTI Reaction Show, talking about Tennessee's win over LSU on Tuesday night. Rick Butler and Ryan Schumpert here. Ryan, on a night where Georgia stuns number 3 Florida in Athens, Tennessee is able to leave Baton Rouge with a 6-point win over the Tigers. It certainly wasn't always pretty, but Tennessee did enough to get the job done. What did you see out there on the court tonight as Tennessee picks up their third straight victory with a win over the Tigers?
I think it's what you said. It was certainly an ugly game. I feel like, I say Tennessee. Tennessee has one of these every year, but really, I think most good teams have one of these every year where they go on the road
Sure.
and honestly play pretty bad against a team that they're a lot better than and find a way to get a win. And Tennessee wasn't just horrific as a whole. There were a handful of things I thought they did a really good job in this game, but just weren't very good offensively. Turnover issues, they reared their ugly head. Tennessee, again, slow start on that end of the court, but did enough. I thought Jemai Mashack was really good. I thought Felix Okpara was really good. Certainly, Zakai Ziegler and Chasleneer had some big buckets for Tennessee and enough to get the job done. And what you said to start it out, and Georgia's a better team than LSU, but what you said to start it out, the big point tonight. Tennessee got a win on a night, one of its biggest competitions for a number 1 overall seed in the NCAA tournament, lost on the road to an unranked team. So Tennessee did what they needed to do, and now they head back to Knoxville for a big game on Saturday.
Yeah, and you think about where this game was in the schedule. I mean, you're coming off of I know it was a bye week last week as well, but you're coming off of a highly emotional win over Texas A&M. You're hosting Alabama here on Saturday coming up. But here, right there in the middle, you got to go to LSU in a late night tip-off. And again, Tennessee was able to get the job done with a resilient win. Chasleneer scores 14, Zakai Ziegler scores 17, and then you mentioned it, Felix Okpara was good tonight for the Vols, 6 of 6 shooting from the floor for 15 points. Those 3 guys alone combined for 70% of Tennessee's offensive output tonight. Couple of slow stretches for Tennessee. Again, certainly had some trouble offensively, like you alluded to, some sloppy play at times. LSU was able to hang around because of that. But again, as you mentioned, Tennessee's defense was able to keep LSU at bay enough. The Tigers did go on a couple of scoring runs, hit one there at the end as well. But again, Tennessee was able to get it done in a late night tip-off on the road on a Tuesday night. So, man, we're kind of at that point in the season where you just need to continue racking up wins. Obviously, Florida is kind of dealing with the consequence of that. Texas A&M too, as well, losing to Mississippi State and Tennessee last week. So it's an important time just to get wins. I know, again, some people are going to be a little bit upset just at the nature of it, but it's certainly things to clean up for Tennessee as well. But getting a big win here on a Tuesday night.
Definitely, and I think you kind of mentioned it a second ago. Finals a 6-point game. I mean, it was to me more than a 6-point game. I mean, that feels like it was closer to. I mean, Tennessee was up 14 with
14.
5 minutes left, 4 minutes left, and took their foot off the pedal. It felt like late, which they shouldn't do. Not to excuse that, but it looked a game Tennessee did not play very well. They led by 3 at halftime. I don't know about you, Rick. I don't know about people listening. There wasn't a second in that game when I was watching I didn't think Tennessee was going to win. LSU never seriously threatened, in my opinion. So that part was big, and I will say one big sequence in the game. I thought if at any point in the game it felt hairy was because Tennessee was up by 3 at halftime. They got it to 8-10, relatively early in the second half, and it kind of felt like it was bouncing back and forth from like 12-8, and then around the midway point in the second half, LSU got it to 5, and it felt like if LSU was going to make a move, that was kind of the point. And then, to me, the big sequence in the game is Zakai Ziegler had an and one, missed a free throw. Felix Okpara got the rebound and dunked the putback, I think, or maybe made a layup, and a 4-point possession got it from 5-9. And LSU didn't get it closer. They didn't get it back to 5 until 9 seconds left when they were shooting free throws, and Tennessee was going to have the ball after it. So to me, that felt like a defining moment in the game. And Okpara, he sparked Tennessee, I thought, as a whole to start the second half. When I said they kind of pushed out the lead when it was only 3, he got fouled and hit 2 free throws. He had an and one on a play that he kind of came off a down screen and. Or came off a screen, and Tennessee threw the ball to him with his back to the basket, and he scored. So not something we see a ton from Tennessee's offense, and Okpara came up big in a couple of those moments.
Yeah, that one of those runs I think that you're talking about right there was a 5-point game with just about 11 minutes to go in the second half. Tennessee up 45-40. And again, that's where Felix Okpara came up with one of his baskets. That might have been the alley-oop from Ziegler. I'm not really sure when it was, but again, he goes 6 of 6 from the floor. So he certainly provided Tennessee with a big spark. And then speaking of Tennessee's big guys, you can look at Chaz Neer for a team high 9 rebounds on the game.
Yeah.
But Tennessee dominated the rebounding battle, as you would hope in this sort of matchup, 44-28. So that is a positive note for Tennessee here in this game.
Yeah, that's where Tennessee won. I think more than anything was on the glass.
Yeah.
You say the advantage there. It was a season best 27 second chance points, so 27 to 65 points for Tennessee's second chance. Tennessee rebounded 52% of its misses, which is a massive, massive rate. And Tennessee's a good rebounding team. I think they entered the game around like 34% on the season, and that was like top 15 in the country. And A&M, I think, is the best in the country at 41%. So that shows how much Tennessee, controlled the glass. And that was it from start to finish. That was Tennessee's offense and kind of their bread and butter. I think it was 4 of their first 7 points were second chance opportunities. It felt like at a number of big moments in the game, Tennessee was able to get a bunch of opportunities and score off of them.
Yep. And now the fun begins for Tennessee kind of all over again. This Saturday, welcoming a huge marquee opponent. Dickie V, I think, will be in the house. I believe you wrote about that earlier in the week over on RockyTopInsider.com. But a pivotal game for Tennessee. And again, factoring in Florida's loss here today, the race for the postseason is still on. Obviously, you're looking at both the SEC tournament and the NCAA tournament coming up after that. But doors are open, and Tennessee has a chance to make a big run here at the close of the season. But it's going to start on Saturday with the Alabama Crimson Tide coming to Thompson Bowling Arena at the Food City Center.
Yeah, it is. And boy, they shot the lights out tonight against Mississippi State, ran them out of Coleman Coliseum.
I'm looking at it right here on SEC Now or whatever the show is. $111. That's a clean looking score right there. 111 points over Mississippi State.
I think they made. I'm trying to do some quick math here.
All right, go for it.
Yeah, I don't know the math. That's the problem. They made something like
You're
18
right.
threes
I'm
tonight.
the math guy.
Yeah.
Wow.
People have often said that.
Thank you. Thank you.
Alabama made just an absurd amount of threes tonight, and obviously that's going to be tough to do. If they hit as many threes as they did tonight, and I'm trying to find the final number here.
Yeah.
22 3-pointers tonight.
22. You undershot it with 18.
Yeah, if Alabama hits 22 3-pointers in a game, there's not anybody in the country that's going to beat them.
No.
Just the same to say about anybody. If anybody hits 22 3-pointers in a game, they're almost certainly not going to lose. So maybe for Tennessee's sake, Alabama got some of that hot shooting out of the way, and it'll be a good test for a really good 3-point defense. A really good 3-point defense in Tennessee, and I will say Mississippi State's been a really bad 3-point defense all year. So certainly some bad 3-point luck for Mississippi State tonight, but that's not been a strength. And obviously didn't watch. It was at the same time as the Tennessee game, so wasn't watching it intently. But I don't doubt that Mississippi State's 3-point defense was lacking a little bit.
Yeah. I would say that's a fair assessment to take from a 111-point game from the Crimson Tide before they come to Knoxville. And again, what is going to be a huge SEC matchup. We will have coverage of that live from the Food City Center coming up this Saturday afternoon. I believe they got moved to a 4:00 p.m. tip-off time. Is that correct?
That is.
All right. So 4:00 p.m. Eastern time coming up this Saturday. Stay tuned to Rocky Top Insider. Ryan will have you boots on the ground coverage from the Food City Center again as we near the end of the regular season for Tennessee basketball as they try to make their race for the SEC tournament and the March Madness tournament coming up all ahead. It's going to be a fun close to the season. We'll see how Tennessee does. But again, the Vols get a 65-59 win over LSU in Baton Rouge tonight, extend their win streak to 3 games in a row. I believe it's something like 5 out of the last 6, maybe 6 out of the last 7. But there's only 1 loss sandwiched in a nice little win streak there for Tennessee nearing the end of the season. That is Ryan Schumpert. I'm Rick Butler. Thanks for watching the RTI Reaction Show. We'll catch you back for the next one.